Welcome back, guys. Today we're going to continue our NFL prediction with Week 11. Last week, I thought I did good, but an 8-6 record, it sure doesn't look like it, and it puts my total season at 91-59. And I will go on a rant saying how underwhelmed I am with this NFL season, but I'm not going to do that. I think this week's games are going to show that. But before we get into those games, the Indianapolis Colts, New Orleans Saints, New England Patriots, and Atlanta Falcons all have bye weeks this week. But at least the underwhelming doesn't start with Thursday Night Football, because the Cincinnati Bengals will be taking on the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore. Both of these teams are coming off of tough losses. First of all, the Baltimore Ravens. At one point, they led 24-9 against the rival Cleveland Browns, but the Browns were able to make a comeback and steal the victory and save the sweep for their little rivalry. Which means that the Baltimore Ravens, at some point in every game this year, they had a lead. Not many teams can say that. Meanwhile, the Cincinnati Bengals, their injuries kind of showed why they lost to the Houston Texans. They didn't have T. Higgins, and it showed. But they were pretty much playing from behind throughout that entire game. And that's why they lost at home to the Houston Texans. I feel like this game is a must-have game for both teams. For one team, they're trying to maintain the first place spot in the division that they barely have. And for another team, they just need to fight to stay alive in the playoff race. Now, as the season we're in right now, all AFC North teams will be in it, to be fair. Also, in this game, these two teams already met. They met in Week 2, which Baltimore won 27-24. I think this one's going to be a true toss-up. And I was going to take the Ravens, but to prevent the sweep, I'm going to take the Cincinnati Bengals on the road to get the win in Baltimore. And speaking of the AFC North, we have a battle between the Cleveland Browns hosting the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, another game, they're just following the script. This is another game where they got outgained in total offense. Newsflash, they've been outgained in offense the entire way, but yet, due to a pretty strong fourth quarter by their defense, they were able to close the deal against the Green Bay Packers. Meanwhile, the Cleveland Browns, I already mentioned what I said about them in the previous segment, so I'm not really going to explain that much. But the last time these two teams placed, Cleveland pretty much had Pittsburgh on the ropes. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, led by T.J. Watt, was able to come from behind and win. I think Cleveland is going to win this game. I am going to take the Browns to win. They're at home, and that defense, granted, it did have a pretty rough day last week. I think they'll be able to shut things down from Kenny Pickett in that offense. And they also got Week 2 in their mind. Follow that up, we have the Detroit Lions taking on the Chicago Bears. The Bears had a Thursday night win over the Carolina Panthers, which means nothing because the Carolina Panthers have been nothing all year. And the Detroit Lions, high-scoring road matchup, high-scoring road win over the Los Angeles Chargers. Almost forgot who they faced. For the Bears, they are going to get some good news. Justin Fields, it looked like he's going to be able to come back in this one. And for the Lions, they're just on a roll. I don't think there's this. I think this win will submit them in the NFC North race. I am going to take the Detroit Lions to win. And then we have the Los Angeles Chargers traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. The Chargers, all they feel is pain. Once again, they blew another lead. Well, I wouldn't say they blew a lead. They had a chance to. How can I say this? They were in the game, but they lost in the last second. There, boom. A similar case could be for Green Bay, which at parts of the game, they looked pretty good against the Pittsburgh Steelers. They just went cold in the fourth and was unable to keep up. I think this game is going to be a weird one. I don't know what to think about it. But for me, I'm actually going to take the Green Bay Packers to win. I don't know why. I do trust Green Bay's defense a little bit in this one. I think that's where it boils down to. And then we have the Las Vegas Raiders taking on the Miami Dolphins. The Raiders coming off a Sunday night win over the New York Jets. And with that, Antonio Pierce is now 2-0. Good for him. Meanwhile, the Miami Dolphins, they're coming off a bye week. But last time we saw them, they had a tough loss to the Kansas City Chiefs, despite a pretty good late rally. Now, Miami, I feel like I think this is the game. This is like a get right game for Miami because they're getting one of their huge pieces back on offense, and that is Devin Achane. He has been out for the last 4 weeks, and now he's coming. He's designated to return. He fully expects to play. I am going to take the Miami Dolphins to win this game. It's a get right game for them. They might drop 40 points and 45 points in this one. But then again, the Raiders have just been better in the Antonio Pierce era. I'm liking what the Raiders are doing, though. I will give them credit there. Follow that up, we have an NFC East matchup between the New York Giants and the Washington Commanders. Both teams are coming off of losses. The latter, the New York Giants, on the other hand, they're coming off their annual of getting owned by the Dallas Cowboys. The Commanders, they pretty much were in that game against Seattle, but they lost in the last second due to a field goal. It's not that this team is doing bad. I feel like Washington should be a lot better than what they are. And I know Ron Rivera, he's pretty much going to be gone next year due to the ownership change. They pretty much want to start this team from scratch. But the last time these two teams played, the Giants actually won. Ironically, it was the last time the Giants won a game, period. Do I think Tommy DeVito's it? No. Yeah, the Commanders are going to get their bounce back win. Oh, y'all expect this to be a game here? Y'all expect this to be like a prediction? Well, we got one team that's better than the other. One is really, really, really garbage, and the other is really, really, really good against garbage. What more can I say? There's nothing to be explained here. Let's move on. And follow that up, we have the Tennessee Titans taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars in an AFC South matchup. A big AFC South matchup than you think. The Tennessee Titans are coming off a tough road loss against Tampa Bay. Will Levis, he struggled. Turned out his struggles way I'm seeing it, his struggles have been the one good game he had was a benefactor of the Falcons being the Falcons. In Jacksonville, yeah, they got destroyed by the 49ers. I knew the 49ers were going to win that game, but I didn't expect it to be like that. And in hindsight, Trevor Lawrence is not having a good season. But this was the time of the year where he turned it on. Maybe that will occur here. As for I'm picking, I am going to take Duval County to win this game. But I won't be surprised if Derrick Henry continue his annual slaughter of Jacksonville Jaguars. Just saying. And then we have the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Houston Texans. Cardinals, I mean, they got their second win of the year against the Atlanta Falcons. Kyler Murray returned, and he was able to lead a victory over them. Good for the Cardinals. As for the Houston Texans, it's time to start thinking that they're going to be in the hunt in the AFC. They had another good win over a really good Cincinnati team. CJ Stroud, he's just continuing to do his thing at quarterback. The defense, they got some room to grow, but I am liking what's going on in Houston. And because of that, I'm going to keep this brief. I think Texans shouldn't have a problem here. But then again, growing pains could hinder them from winning this game. In other words, I will not be surprised if the Cardinals take it. Just saying. And then we have the San Francisco 49ers coming home to take on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa, after losing 4 straight, got a bounce back win over the Tennessee Titans. Meanwhile, the 49ers, they not only had a bounce back win of the Jaguars, it was a huge win. Chase Young, Nick Bosa, they're teaming up as advertised. And Brock Purdy, he looked okay. Kittle came back. Debo, pretty much made that entire defense impact on that 49er, because without him, the 49ers offense was nothing. Now that he's in that lineup, the 49ers offense looked normal. The only thing that wasn't normal about that game was Christian McCaffrey not finding the end zone and costing my parlay. I think this game, the 49ers are going to play a bit of catch up, trying to catch up, keep up, or more so keep up with the Philadelphia Eagles. I do believe they're going to take this game over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And then we have an AFC East matchup between the New York Football Jets taking on the Buffalo Bills. The Bills, they lost another game. Two losses in a row. And it was because of their offense. The offense it's not that the offense looked bad, it just keep turning the ball over. And that's what cost them the game against the Denver Broncos. And it was just in that Ken Dorsey, the offensive coordinator, has been removed from his duties. Joe Brady, who is best known for his stint for the Saints and that 1.5-year stint with the Panthers and LSU, he has now taken over play calling duties. Meanwhile, the Jets, they also had a bit of a change in offense. They lost to the Raiders, but I've been told that Nathaniel Hackett will not be calling plays for this game. Who will be calling it? I honestly have no clue. In other words, I don't expect a lot of scoring here. This game might be very, very sluggish, but last time these two teams played was in Week 1. Unfortunately, it was the Aaron Rodgers got hurt game, but the Jets still found a way to rally because of Josh Allen turnovers. I am going to take the Bills to win this game. I mean, they got to get it right at some point, right? Right? And then we have an NFC West matchup between the Los Angeles Rams taking on the Seattle Seahawks. Seahawks got a big home win over the Washington Commanders. The Rams are coming off a bye week, but what was a hot start for them in the season has cooled off drastically. They are going to get Matthew Stafford back, and last time we saw the Rams, they lost to the Green Bay Packers. So luckily Stafford's coming back, and they already beat the Seahawks once this year. If you don't remember, they beat them Week 1. But I do think in this game, Seattle will get their revenge in this one. I am going to take the Seahawks to win. Following that, we have a Sunday night matchup between the Minnesota Vikings and the Denver Broncos. On the outside, it looks like, oh boy, another dud on Sunday night. But if you dig a little deeper, this game's actually interesting. Well, the Vikings, they're just finding ways to win games. That's something that I think wouldn't have happened. And if the Vikings were in the situation with Mike Zimmer, I don't think them winning will be taking place. Meanwhile, for the Denver Broncos, 3rd win in a row. Very impressed with what the Broncos have been doing. And they beat the Bills on Monday Night Football. These are two, I know the Broncos are kind of hot, but they're not as hot as what the Vikings are. And plus, the Vikings may be getting Justin Jefferson back. I am going to roll with the Vikings to win on the road against the Denver Broncos. And then we have not only the game of the week, but the game of the year. The most anticipated matchup of the 2023 season. You have the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Kansas City Chiefs. Both teams had bye weeks last week, but last time we saw them, they had wins. For the Eagles, they beat their division rival, the Dallas Cowboys, with some help from the refs and the Cowboys' goal line woes. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, they jumped out to a 21-0 lead against the Dolphins, but they pretty much quiet down afterwards. And it turns out when Taylor Swift is not at the game, Travis Kelce do not show up. I don't know why he became that, but it's quietly becoming a problem in that Chiefs locker room. But anyway, and fun fact, Taylor Swift's biggest I think Taylor's is from Philadelphia. Correct me if I'm wrong. So she is an Eagles fan, but then she converted to the Chiefs. But enough about her. This is the game of the year, the most, because last time we saw these two teams, y'all know, it was the Super Bowl. It was a high-scoring affair. It looked like the Eagles was going to run away with it in the first half, but then the Chiefs used some pick plays down by the end zone to get the lead. Eagles then stormed all the way back to tie the game. Then a questionable call on pass interference, which James Bradbury admitted that he held him, gave the Chiefs the Super Bowl win. I do think revenge might play a factor in this one. I'm actually going to take the Philadelphia Eagles to win because right now they are playing very good football. I'm not taking that away from anybody. But if the Chiefs win, it will show me that there's a big gap between NFC and AFC. Because AFC has been a grudge match this year. The NFC has been 2, maybe 3 teams. Maybe a 3-2 or 3-team conference, but whatever. So those are my picks. Tell me what y'all think in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.